Hey everybody! There was some discussion in the community forums on Facebook regarding adjusting the Incra 1000 HD so that when you move from a 90-degree crosscut to, like, let's say a 45-degree miter, how you have to loosen these two cap screws right here to slide the rail over. So the problem is, like right now, I'm not set to zero clearance, but let's just assume the fence were zeroed for a second, and I need to set a 45. So I loosen this, loosen the indicator, and I rotate the gauge so that I'm cutting a 45-degree miter. Lock everything down, and we can see what the problem is going to be. That the blade is going to end up slicing the fence on the miter gauge. So what you have to do is, actually we'll just leave it set right here so we can see what clearance we're going to need. You end up having to use the driver that Incra provides. I know some people didn't get these for some reason. I'd suggest calling Incra or emailing them because they're really helpful folks. But the fix is simple. You just loosen this up. And you notice how I'm at an angle here, getting around. No matter what, if I didn't want to break this setup, I have to move around the handle. But because of the ball socket on this driver, it's no big deal. So I loosen both those, and now I can slide the fence so that as it moves past the blade, we're clear. And you can see there, at that point, I'd be clear. I've got some stock in the background, so I can't move this anymore. And then it's just a matter of retightening these two screws. That's the extent of it. So how long did that take with me positioning the camera? A minute, not even a minute. And then we've got a similar adjustment out here if you want to expand the support for your stock. Same thing, and then you just tighten it with the supplied wrench. So the discussion was, why not have some kind of thumb screw or self-contained hardware that would make this easier? So I'd kind of thought the same thing a while back, and I needed to pick some stuff up in McMaster Car anyhow. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and test that theory. So I'm just setting the gauge back to zero right now, just so it'll be a little bit easier to work on. We'll move the camera over here, and let's test this theory. Incra sells something like this that you can use. These are, some people will call them positionable handles, ratcheting lever thumb knobs, all kinds of different names. Incra's, the ones they sell, are plastic. It's got a nice little red head right here where the screw is. It doesn't really matter. They all pretty much work the same, and we're not talking a ton of torque on this part right here. So in order to install these, all you would do is back out the factory screw, we'll set those aside. Let the supplied nuts come out, and then what I've taken here is I've got just some regular 1/4-20 cap screws, nothing fancy. I'm going to put them into the slot. I'm going to pull that washer off in just a second because we don't want the washer sitting between the actual miter and the miter gauge and the fence. So I got one of these there, and then we'll slide another one in. And the debate will be, is it worth it? Everything up here where we can see a little bit better. So I position those through there. A washer would probably be a good idea. And then the way these work is I'll need to start some kind of thread. So come all the way over, and hopefully these threads will capture on that turn. From there you can pull out and re-index the handle. But you'll see that's the first problem right there is getting a turn, enough of a turn to seat the fastener on the screw is a problem. These are coarse threads, so I'm not, I don't have a lot of purchase per rotation. So let's see what I can do there. And this might be a thing, like after you get it set up, I'm holding the barrel that's the actual nut, if you will, in place with my thumb. And now I can grab another half rotation. Alright, so we've got them on. Got the fence set up against the blade. If we needed to now simulate making a miter cut, let's pull the fence back and loosen the miter gauge, and let's set it to, we'll say 45. So it's actually 46, but you get the idea. Push up, and there's our problem. So before we grabbed the provided driver to fix it, now we're going to use these guys to do it. So to loosen, it's loose, loose, something like that. Tighten. And you'll notice on this one over here in the back, just because of where things are indexed right now, this sits up above. It's proud to the top of the fence. So I would need to either re-index it back down that way or re-index the handle this way. The tension's still the same. The fence is still locked down to the miter gauge, but I need these handles out of the way. So you know, I noticed earlier that potentially the work stop could be a problem with those in the way. So let's lock this down. Now, you notice we've got not a lot of clearance right here. So let's say I need to loosen the fence. I'm going to pull this out, and it just barely clears, but it does clear to where now I'm on the other side of the knob. I can loosen and take tension off. Same thing here. I could actually come up, but I'll have to pull out to get around that, which is no big deal. But now it's loose, and we can do what we need to do. So the question becomes, does it work? Yes, they work. They're McMaster part number 6270K14. The product description is a zinc adjustable position handle with 1/4-20 threaded hole. It's a 1 5/16 projection, which is from the face of the fastener here out to the knob right here on the end of the thing. They're metal. They work nice. Will I leave them on here? I don't know. I'm probably too lazy to change it back to the other right now. But I don't necessarily think that there's really any problem with the provided driver from Incra, except for the fact that I have to keep it with the gauge somewhere. If you've got a cabinet sitting under your saw where you keep all this stuff, not a big deal. But if you store your miter gauge off the saw somewhere, and so now you got to keep these things together, I could see where it might be a bit of an issue. So these do work. Would I take the time to use them? I don't know.